All right, guys. I am um, really excited to be here today talking about the agony of purpose. It's really important that we understand some things about purpose so they guide our actions through life. This is not just another stream to um, tell you, chase your, find your purpose, do something passionate. This is to talk about the dark side, the dark part of purpose, the agony that comes with finding your purpose, knowing your purpose, and what you are supposed to do with your life. It's not always a bed of roses, but um, it's not always a bed of roses, but it is a bit manageable. So if you're tuning in live right now, I will encourage you to follow us to the end. Follow us to the end is really important. So let's get started. People talk about purpose. Everyone want to find their purpose. We all want to know why we are on earth, why we are here doing the things we are doing, because it gives meaning to our lives, right? It gives meaning to our lives. It's important as that as a human being, you know exactly what you are here for. So it doesn't look like you just wasting your time running around doing some couple of stuff without actually living your purpose. And some people spend their whole life chasing, spend their whole life trying to understand their purpose or to know what they're supposed to do with their life. At the end of the day, most people don't even find it. So let's talk about the the chase for purpose, to find meaning out of our lives. So if you grow from a Christian background like I did, it was drummed into our ears every day that we need to find our purpose. We need to understand our purpose so that we can do something important with our lives. And growing up, I've seen a lot of people struggle over this because they can't seem to find anything worth doing with their life. They always ask the question, how do I find my purpose? So the usual answer we get is just pray to God, ask the Lord for help, and He will help you. He will tell you your purpose. So most times people do that and still get a struggle to identify their purpose. They struggle to identify what they're supposed to do with their life. And the big question is this: at the end of the day, after all the chase, and what if you're still not sure? What if you're still in doubt? Sometimes I tell people to do what you're passionate about. If it doesn't feel like it will eventually lead to your purpose. Just do what you're passionate about. Sometimes we tell people to do what their heart resonates with. Sometimes we do people tell people to follow their passion, maybe a vision, maybe an aspiration, maybe a dream, just in a bid to help people find meaning for their life. Purpose is all about finding meaning, and one of the biggest reveal or the biggest lesson I have to learn about purpose is that it's not just about doing something. It's about first finding meaning in your existence, understanding the reason for your existence. That's the whole definition of purpose. It's not just about doing. So when we talk about purpose, people's mind shift to like, what am I going to be doing with my life. You understand the actions I'll be taking and the benefit I'll be getting in return. Most times, purpose is not all about those external things, it is about understanding the meaning of your own existence. Simple. And that simple definition will help you give rise to, help you answer a lot of questions in your life. Why are you, the reason for what is the reason for your existence as a human being? Why were you born into the world? What makes you different from the remaining 7.9 billion people, 9999 billion people on earth? What sets you apart? What's the difference? A lot of people cannot answer this question. And when you think about it, it leads to existential crisis. Existential crisis. You know, that feeling where you don't understand your existence, you're thinking, and everything looks so blurry, dark, and gloomy. You don't know if you're here or there. The utter state of confusion and frustration and depression together just because you're trying to figure out your existence. It doesn't have to be like that. One beautiful thing about life is that we can find meaning in the little things. If you love art, you love animals, or maybe you love nature, you can easily find meaning in that and try to see how it integrates with you as a whole on a deeper level. It's simply like maybe you love birds, and anytime you see birds, it gives you pleasure, it gives you peace, and it gives you happiness. Listening to the sound brings you bring calmness to your soul. Listening to the chirping bird in the morning brings this feeling of relaxation. So it might be something as simple as that. So you can say the reason for my existence is simply to protect other living creature, other living animals, maybe particularly birds. And you can take that as a full time hobby or a job or a work or something, and or maybe build an organization around it, or maybe not. Or maybe it will lead you to other part of your life or other aspect of your life that talks about you taking care of the little things about people's life, finding how to take care of those little things that people often ignore or do not pay attention to. Maybe mental health, maybe their health, maybe they're talking about learning, knowledge, skills, family, relationship. It might be something like that that will lead to that, or it may simply be um, be talking about sleep. We might simply be talking about maybe climate change or something, just something that will help humanity. One thing about finding meaning in oneself is not just all about like I say, it's not about doing. It's not all about what you're going to benefit or get in return. It's simply what you're going to be serving to the world, what you're going to be contributing to the world. That's what actually bring meaning to our life. So if the totality of your existence is centered around you getting, I don't think you'll be able to actually get fulfillment at the end of your life, because most people, when you talk about purpose, they are all tuned into thinking, what am I going to get? What am I going to get in return? What am I going to get? How much money, the houses, the reward, this and that, and at the end of the day, they can't really find meaning because they are attaching meaning to something else that is not really that important. Now let's take for instance, because we're moving on, we're going to the next section right now. So let's take for example now that we are able to finally, finally, um, let's say we are able to finally find a purpose and become who we're supposed to be, right? At the end of the day, we finally did it. The question is, how do we live with purpose? Because I can tell you for a fact that it's not just about um, finding your purpose, it's more like how to live with your purpose, which isn't often discussed or talked about. Most times, our attention is only centered around it's most times only centered around finding a purpose. You understand? Trying to understand a purpose, but nothing to do with, but nothing to actually do it living with a purpose, right? So, so if it's all about that, um, if it's all about just knowing a purpose and all that, then we wouldn't have any problem. We wouldn't have any problem. That's just it for the fact. We wouldn't have any problem. The bigger problem is how to live with purpose, which comes with a whole lot of problems and complexities. Now listen to this. In the movie Loki, um, a Marvel movie, and we're going to draw inspiration from that. He always makes a phrase. He says, burdened by a glorious purpose. Now, notice that there is more to that word. First, we have burden, we have glorious, and we have purpose. So, burdened by a glorious purpose means that you'll be burdened, like carrying a glorious purpose or living with a glorious purpose is burdensome. Like you will literally feel the weight because you can't carry a great purpose and live like everyone else. I don't think you can enjoy life like everyone else, or you can do things like everyone else if you are just maybe simply maybe if you're just simply living that can be understandable, but if you're carrying a glorious purpose, you are going to be burdened. And most times, this particular fact is not talked about because someone who chases a great purpose, a great vision, has a great and great dream for his life, most times cannot find the time to rest. Their mind is always racing because I've been there. Their mind is always thinking on how to become better, how to make it better, how to bring it to reality, and how to bring it to life. It isn't always it isn't always something sweet or something enjoyable. Most times people find it very, very, very difficult to live with a great purpose. And that is where I'm heading to in this streaming, in this session. A lot of people who have great purpose most times are so burdened that it chips away on their life force or their life energy. They're stressed about it, they're worried about it, they're constantly working working around it, trying to bring it to life, trying to make it possible, trying to make it, trying to build it in a way so that people will actually get value. And most times, people do not really understand the cost of chasing a great purpose or what it does to your soul or your mind. So there's this, this constant state of agony, pain, and depression. Not actually depression in the main sense, or let's say overthinking, because you're thinking about this every single day, every time, every morning, every evening, every day. Your mind is racing, you're thinking, your thoughts is running, and you can't seem to even understand what is going on because you are burdened by a glorious purpose. You're chasing your purpose and it's weighing down on you. That's agony. It's what most people do not even understand when chasing a great purpose. And most times, people who do not understand this way simply downplay your effort. Most times, you do not get the recognition you deserve. Most times, when you try to have friends or talk to people about it, they can't understand. So, it's kind of a lonely journey that you have to carry on by yourself. It's not just about maybe being lonely at the top. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about having no friends to share your pain with, having nobody to share your difficulty with, having nobody to understand what you're going through and how it's hurting you and how it's pulling you down, and you having to carry this burden by yourself for the rest of your life just because you want to chase a great purpose. And coupled with this, most times, as you try your best, it's not as if you're getting the reward immediately. It's not as if maybe it's working out. It's getting messier. It's getting difficult. Everything is falling apart, and you still have to carry this on your shoulder as if nothing is going on. The agony of purpose. So, can we say for a fact that we can deal with this agony? Can we say for a fact that we can deal with this agony? It's not something easy. Those who those who um those who understand this know how difficult it is to actually bring something like this to life. They know it's not something you can just brush off. Brush off. It's not something you can just brush off. It's something you have to live with. Something that will follow you for the rest of your life. So that's what happens. That's how it goes. That's how it chips into your life. That is how it weigh on you. That's how it tries to bring you down. That is it. That is it. It's difficult. Is very, very difficult. But the question is it worth it? 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 That's a question everyone chasing a great purpose will have to answer for themselves. Nobody can answer that question for you. Nobody can answer that question for you. Nobody will be able to answer that question for you. And I know you're asking why. Because when you choose to chase a great purpose or a glorious purpose, you alone make the decision. Nobody can make the decision for you. You alone understand the costs, and still, you still decide to move forward with it. It's not easy, but for a fact, I can tell you, you can live with it, you can manage it. It is doable. It is doable. Very, very doable. And we're going to be talking about it in a bit. So sorry, I have to set up some stuff, so that's why I haven't been like fluent in the main sense. But okay, let's go back because we're wrapping this session very soon. I have to test all the stuff. So here it is. Great purpose is burdensome. It comes with agony and pain, but it's worth it. So, do you know why? The only way to change the world, the only way to contribute something very, very important to the world is by living a life of purpose. It's not going to be easy. It will require discipline and extreme focus and resilience, but it will pay off. Even if, let's say, it didn't pay off, it will be a life worth living. Living with purpose sets you apart. Though it's painful, that's the cost, but the reward are outstanding. And even if you don't get the reward per, let's say, you are not extremely rich and all that, you will still be happy that you live the life of purpose. You gave your best. You contributed something to the world before you leave. You see, life is not just all about having all the material wealth, the houses, the cars, though they are important. The most important things in life are sometimes the things we can't see or touch. Your contribution to society and to humanity lays as a block placed in the stream of time that will forever lay claims to the work you did and the contributions you gave while you were still alive. Even if it is forgotten by every human, it will be as a stepping stone for future generation. So it is worth it. I can assure you and I can tell you for a fact that it is worth it. Extremely worth it. So, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. what you think, guys. Let me know what you think. So I think I'll be uploading this to the Life of Great podcast. If you want to, I'm seriously considering um more live session, and I just hope I'm able to keep up with this. I don't really have the capacity, the energy, the time to do this. I live in a country where we rarely get power supply, so but I'll try. I'll try. So I'm streaming this. My streaming setup, my workflow is simple. If you join my community, my private community on Discord, you have access to deep conversations like this in real time. Which sometimes I'll decide to stream to YouTube or TikTok directly. So if you have any question, you can drop it on the chat or send a mail, and we'll talk about it. So we just did a little of purpose and the agony of purpose, and I want to believe that it's provided a little information, like a little information. It provided a little information to help you in your own journey. So thank you for everyone who listening, who've listened, and I really, really hope that maybe one day we'll turn back to this very day and say, "Whoa, the little effort we placed into something like this yielded great results." So keep chasing your purpose. If you don't have anyone to talk to, remember you can always join my community, and we'll help you, we'll provide support, so we'll be able to grow together. So thank you so much, and I think maybe I'll see you in the next stream.